What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. As tensions with Russia and even Saudi Arabia mount, take a look at what happened here. The U.S. Air Force jets intercepted two Russian bombers flying close to Alaska. So this is a cause for concern because remember that Russia and Alaska are only separated by a couple miles. This is really scary. Here's the details on this. The Air Force dispatched two F-16 fighter jets to intercept a pair of Russian bombers that flew close to Alaska yesterday. The North American Aerospace Defense Command said in a statement. Although the two Russian Tu-95 Bear H bombers did not enter American or Canadian sovereign airspace, NORAD said it detected, tracked, and positively identified and intercepted the aircraft as they were entering and operating within the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. Now, first, you have to wonder, what are two Russian bombers doing flying close to Alaska? Russian bombers. If this isn't cause for concern, I don't know what is. This is unbelievable to even think that they would be attempting to do something like this, attempting to even send this type of message out. Air defense identification zones are areas of airspace that require all aircraft to be identified and located and have their flight plans controlled in the interest of national security, according to the FAA. NORAD, a combined air defense organization of US and Canada, said the Russian activity was seen not as a threat, nor is the activity seen as proactive. But they were Russian bombers, and honestly, they're probably just trying to downplay this. The appearance of Russian bombers and their interception by the US fighter jets, remember they dispatched two fighter jets, do come at a fraught time in the relationship between the two countries. This also comes as Russian President Putin has declared martial law in the annexed regions of Ukraine, which they basically just kind of took by a sham election, which they went door to door at Ukrainian homes with AKs and said, with armed military members, and said, how do you want to vote, while holding AKs and Russian military members with women and children and family members there, and said, how do you want to vote? And then, even after the votes, the Russian officials went back and counted them on their own. Not with Ukrainian and Russian officials there together, only Russian officials went back and counted them. So you can let me know your thoughts on how you think, how legitimate that vote was. But the United Nations voted on this, not NATO, not the US, but the entire world. The United Nations just voted on this. And well, the voting results were 143 nations voted against Russia's so-called illegal referendum. 35 nations voted or didn't vote, they abstained. And only 4 other nations, with Russia being the 5th, voted to say that the elections were legal and just. So out of the 193 member United Nations body, if you're ever wondering how legitimate the world thinks these elections were, 4 nations plus Russia, thinks the elections were legit. Now Putin is declaring martial law in these regions of Ukraine that 99% of the world, 98% of the world doesn't think is legit. And this order goes into effect on Thursday and gives additional emergency powers to Russian leaders. The order does not go into much detail on what martial law decree will entail, but it may include restrictions on travel, public gathering, increased censorship, and expanded law enforcement authority. But Ukrainian soldiers continue to make large gains as Russian forces pull out of Lyman, a key city in Ukraine's one of Ukraine's regions. So Russian troops keep withdrawing as Ukraine keeps taking back major regions of this annexed territory. So the question here is, how desperate will Putin get? Will they decide to use nukes, because they've basically threatened it like 100 times? And don't forget that they also said that they would reclaim Russia. Top Russian lawmakers threatened that they would reclaim Russia if they wanted to. Remember that Russia sold Alaska to the US back in the 1800s, and they said that they would reclaim it if they needed to. And now they're flying Russian bombers within miles of Alaska. So you kind of got to wonder what's going on over there. Also, don't forget here that Russia has been attacking us in multiple different ways. Just a week ago, Russian hackers take down 14 US government airport websites, which presented a significant security risk on its own. Also, Russian hackers shut down US state government websites. Also, Russian hackers shut down US state government websites as well. About 2 weeks ago, multiple different states, including Colorado, Kentucky, and Mississippi government websites, and who knows what information they got from these websites, database, what was included in there in these attacks and breaches. We don't know. We don't know. And then you put this piece of the puzzle, all these pieces of the puzzle together, and remember that Russia is part of OPEC Plus, and Saudi Arabia, part of OPEC, and OPEC Plus just decided to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day so that the price of oil and gas would go higher than it is already in the US and worldwide so that they can make more money. That's right. And this will cause gas prices and food prices and price of everything you buy at the store to go even higher, because everything's got to be shipped to the store. Yeah, take a listen. Here's Congressman Ro Khanna and talking about this and what Congress is considering. Here, take a listen.
Congressman Ro Khanna of California, he and Senator Richard Blumenthal are behind the new bill. Their latest op-ed is titled "The Best Way to Respond to Saudi Arabia's Embrace of Putin." And Congressman, this is multifaceted. I'm sure you've heard, and you'll be able to respond to all the different caveats and nuances of this. But I guess first thing I'd I'd probably say is, if not Saudi Arabia and OPEC, if they were to cut off our oil, or if we were to anger them through what you're suggesting, where do we get enough oil to run the global economy?
Well, Joe, we produce a lot of oil. We can stop exporting it, at least temporarily. But the big thing is that we provide the Saudis with almost 70% of their weapons. We have more defense cooperative arrangements with them than almost any other ally, and we're producing those weapons in Saudi Arabia. Our technicians make the Saudi planes fly. And so for them to make these cuts at a time that Americans are suffering at the pump is just ungrateful. And we ought to be firm and ask them to reconsider the decision. They're making almost 70% profit on each barrel of oil.
In the past, whenever OPEC has decided to either cut or expand production, we never tied it to Russia because we didn't have a war going on. We couldn't point fingers at Putin. OPEC Plus is fully aware of what central banks around the world, including in the United States, are doing in terms of, raising interest rates to cut demand. And we're probably, may have a hard landing here. We may have a mild recession, but certainly there's a global slowdown. Why isn't this something you would expect oil producers to do to try to maintain higher prices? It's just a business decision. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're being forced into the hands of Russia. This may force them into the hands of Russia.
Joe, the economics right now, they are making almost $80 billion in 2022. They are making 70% margins on their each barrel of oil because of American technology, because we gave them the most efficient technology to be able to drill. Some of our oil companies, who I've criticized, have helped them with the technology. Russia does not have that same margin. Russia, because they're selling it cheaply to China and India, they're providing a $35 discount. Russia doesn't have that margin. So what's really driving in part this decision is Russia, which wants a margin to be able to finance the Ukraine war. And what is upsetting to Senator Blumenthal and me and other members of Congress is that the Saudis are taking the side of Russia over American consumers.
And as we go into the winter months, you can see here, Americans will pay more money to heat their homes this winter. So will the whole world, actually, as natural gas and home heating, any type of home heating oil you use is all up significantly. You can see here the price of WTI crude and Brent crude, $85 to $92, starting to go back up, starting to get closer and closer back to $100 a barrel as OPEC plus nations have announced their 2 million barrels a day cut costs. Natural gas is actually trending down at the moment. I won't hold my breath. I would like to see it go down, continue to go down, but we'll see, because demand is going to start going up as the winter months go here. But again, I'm not going to hold my breath. I will keep you up to date on all of this. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. What do you think needs to be done here? And I'll let you know here. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. And click the bell icon after you subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos every day here. I'll keep you up to date here. Click on this video next here to see a new video about new checks coming out to millions of Americans. And here is my newest video about a Social Security raise coming out to for $2,400. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.